consistency. They're doing the, as McIntyre put in the video, they don't throw, I think is what he said. They aren't doing that. So very well done. But B-Step has stepped their game up. They just aren't quite there yet.
Yeah, I think maybe we could see them try to go for a Battleground pick here, since it has been important for them before. We're going to go to the Battleground pool and see if that's the case, or if they want to stick with first pick like they did after losing game number 1. Tempo Storm picked Tomb the Spider Queen and then Cursed Hollow. Where are we going to go to next? If it's... Okay, so I was going to say, if it's B-Step's choice, I think we would go to Shrines, maybe Sky Temple. But with Tempo Storm, either Braxis maybe, but Towers definitely is one.
Yeah, Towers of Doom, and that pulls away from the strengths that we really know of, again, when it comes to B-Step and what they're or at least what they claim to be their strengths. You know, at this point, it maybe is the exact opposite of really what they look towards with that skirmishing. It's going to be more macro-focused. It's weird, actually. Towers is a perfect balance of, like, kind of, you have to consider the macro, but it's very skirmish-oriented. You have to brawl around these points at specific times. So we'll see if that works out for them, or if they're going to, you know, maybe going to pull out something a little bit clever. Medivh, K1 Pro was able to play that for a while back in the day. Might bust that out here. So,
and we have yet to see the Medivh stitches that Tempo Storm like to do, but I kind of get the feeling that Tempo Storm does not want to go the way of cheese. Like, they do not want to get easy victories.
Yeah.
Even though things are difficult for them in some games, they're still winning the series overall and doing whatever they need to do to improve their solid play without getting the easy win, I guess, in North America, which is refreshing.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. It's really going to, in the long run, the best way to be able to improve rather than the easy victories. Always put yourself in a position to be able to, you know, learn something, come out a better team at the end of the day.
So what are we seeing potentially in a change in draft? It seems like, again, this might be one where Psalm is again on Zeratul.
Yeah.
Could be Dahaka for either team too. Ragnaros as well. It's a good one. He can stall for a long time at altars.
I think the first thing that I would say when it comes to the draft, at least on the side of B-Step, is again going to be more of putting K1 Pro on an impactful hero. And personally, it's going to be we're on another Li Ming map. I would like to see that Li Ming come up somewhere into this draft for B-Step. Again, just a high-impact hero, one he can make big plays onto, and he didn't look comfortable on melees. Like, let's be honest here, it just doesn't, like, you have McIntyre, you've got iDream, and you've got King Caffeine. All of those have played Melee at their career, at the best of the best of, for some of them, you know, North America, the Worlds. So I would just like to see them move in that direction. And then, you know, in the back, it's K1 Pro's the one doing the pew-pew, getting the kills. And for Tempo Storm, though, maybe a little less shield-oriented, a little bit more macro-global focus, because that fits their strength so well.
Right,
like
sort
put
of like
Cawthon on the
style.
Falstad. Yeah, exactly. You know, with the Tempo Storm sprinkle on top, you know?
What is the Tempo Storm sprinkle?
I don't know. It's just, I don't want a full copy pasta. That's what, you know? It's just, I want you to come on and just give the slice of lime that you squeeze over top of the taco, and that'll be Tempo Storm juice right there, and give it a little bit of their own flavor. I don't understand why you're making this face. Obviously, everybody at home totally understands what I'm saying right now, and it makes a lot of sense. You're the only one.
Tempo Storm juice is where the face came in. Ragnaros' first pick for B-Step. I've got to move away from that combo and fast. Tempo Storm, you know, though, I was still confused. I really thought that, given the last composition, it would have been K1 Pro playing Zarya, which seems to me to be more of the way they would have flexed, because not only is it kind of ranged in a way, kind of melee, kind of range. Zarya is weird, but in the past he played the second support too. But either way, Ragnaros is going to be on the side of B-Step. Tempo Storm gets Malfurion and Zeratul, so again, another Zeratul pick.
I don't care what B-Step picks, I just want Li Ming in this rotation. Really bad. Or just a huge playmaker. It could be the Vala route. They could go like Zarya, Vala, and it would be okay. But I can't help but feel like the huge, more playmaking-oriented heroes on maps where the poke makes sense. It's going to be hard for Malfurion to deal with that raw burst as long as somebody's there to be able to get the setup. You have Sulfurous Smash to get the follow-up. That is something that I would like to see them use. Make Psalm feel uncomfortable on his voids, not feel like he has free reign. But we'll find out. I'm guessing they're going to pull away from it again. For the second time. If they hold any trend, it's going to be more focused onto their melees, something like the ETC. And then ETC Vala or an ETC, what was the other, like a Tyrael, another warrior, another melee.
Yeah, they did
Zarya.
Zeratul Li Ming last time they played on Towers versus Gale Force, so I don't think Li Ming's out of the question, but Brightwing's choice for APM.
It's got a
Diablo.
Okay.
So then surely they're going to ban ETC, and again, restrict
And
Fury.
That was all right. That was the most confusing rotation I think I've ever seen B-Step ever draft in my entire life, to be honest. So let's talk about why. So the Diablo removal, because they're afraid of it, they want to remove the globals on the ETC and the ban phase, and then locking in the Brightwing. But again, it's a scenario where you pick Brightwing, where you need burst healing for the heavy melees that you have in front of you. You have Tacet already off the table. It's unlikely you're going to be able to pick up the Zarya if Tempo Storm has any concern towards that, which they are the highest priority Zarya team in the entire North American scene. And so then why the Brightwing into, again, Diablo needs the most healing.
Medivh.
It has to be. There has to be a Medivh on the side of B-Step.
Yeah.
There has to be. And if it doesn't come out, I don't understand this video game anymore.
Because they have to know that Tempo Storm's going to look at that and say they need Zarya.
Yes,
so
exactly.
We ban
They
Zarya.
need a support. They need somebody to keep people alive. They're either running double support or they're running the Medivh. And I agree. I didn't think about the Zarya, or the Medivh, excuse me. So now it makes a lot more sense. Putting that in, and it's just like, oh, that, you know, Diablo goes in, eats at harass, getting the heals. Ragnar's the same thing, being able to help the Brightwing, providing the global, banning out ETC. I'm expecting here to remove a global opportunity on the side of Tempo Storm or the False End, personally.
And Medivh is just good at being able to delay and deny pickups of altars. So between that, Arcane Flare from Brightwing's another good one. Diablo doesn't have to be forced to go in with, if he doesn't have Fire Stomp up. Ragnaros can delay and deny too. So B-Step now just needs to ban and
do you ban False End or ETC? That's what I'm torn on. Because Tempos, I actually think I would ban the False End over the ETC. Just on this map specifically, False End is so dominant.
What about Tychus?
You know, right, here we go. I don't honestly know. It's been...
So is that another warrior then? Instead of Medivh?
Not like this.
Okay, what's Tempo Storm going to pick? Because I can't puzzle over. I don't know. B-Steps is pretty strange.
I mean, the last rotation they made, they opened with the Zeratul Malfurion in the last game, and then their back half of it was, I forgot off the top of my head.
They had Falstad Johanna.
Yeah, and the Falstad.
They could just Falstad Li Ming here. Yeah, those are the two. Not only are those the two damage dealers they like to have on Towers of Doom, but those are also two huge comfort picks for Tempo Storm.
If they don't Medivh, I don't have words. I don't really know the direction they were going. It might be, if it's not a Medivh, it might be like a Tyrael. Either way, the Brightwing that early on is just so scary with the Diablo Ragnaros rotation they've already made.
Do you think it was something like, we know that Tempo Storm's going to get a global, they have roaming with Zeratul, we have to have a Brightwing, and so they just were scared into it? I guess we'll find out once they actually do the picks.
The most terrifying thing in the world right now is if they go like a Tyrael Greymane rotation. It just feels so all-in-y into a Zeratul, and I can see them making that decision. I think they need to stick to a more traditional backline. I would like the Medivh above all. There it is. There it is.
Okay. Not what I expected to go with it.
All right, so that makes sense. That's why the Brightwing Diablo seems so, you know, weird to me. It seems that they had a game plan. They knew they were going to lock in the Chromie in the back half with the Medivh.
Is Chromie still at 100%? She was played today.
I know. I think they lost. Misfits lost game number 1 where they ended up running it. So
I was in makeup for that.
Get wrecked, Chromie.
Okay, so at least Claire's can't blame us if Chromie loses
here,
like
the most
they did for
embarrassing
Tassadar. What?
She can like see the future and stuff, right? And she's still like, we should know that type of stuff. She controls time. She literally controls time. She could go back and fix it, but nope, she didn't. She lost anyways.
She can see the future, but maybe she can't go back in time to change it. She thought she knew what she needed to change it from the past.
If anybody knows me at all, my lore is
abysmal.
Yeah, non-existent there. Obviously, Johanna is Kel'Thas's sister with that wardrobe. You know, that's what it looks like. that's how far it goes for me. It's just like they're related, right?
I was like, where is he going?
It looks like Kel'Thas.
Not even the same game.
I know, but still, that is how little about the world of lore that I really understand. But either way, we got a Chromie Medivh on our hands here for B-Step. It's either going to be really pretty and they're walking away with a B-Step, or sloppy. I feel like I'm afraid of what they're going to be able to do. They have stepped their game up. Again, I can't help but compliment them and what they managed to make happen here in week 1, but I don't know if I looked at Medivh Chromie and said, that was the answer.
Okay, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this a little bit.
All right.
Temporal loop.
Okay.
Probably, although I guess if they can use it on Malfurion, but he'll have Ice Block at 13, but otherwise someone gets cleansed out. What is the... I guess, yeah, wait for cleanse. Maybe Diablo can do something to force a cleanse.
You want a little Snapple fact this morning of what happened? I'm pretty confident that the draft where we managed to see Chromie, where she ended up losing, they were in fact not against an Ariel. It was into the Malfurion. That Chromie might still have 100% win against the Ariel, but against the Malfurion, I think it struggled. I'm pretty confident that that was the draft that they had. It was a while ago. I was in makeup too. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess the hope is maybe they can force out a cleanse and then do whatever they want to do after that with Apocalypse, Sulfur Smash, or on the other side too. It's going to be an interesting one, guys. Medivh and Chromie, let's get into the game and see how that's going to work out for B-Step.
Maybe it is the bait it out. Maybe it's bait out the cleanse. I've heard that argument a lot about Chromie, to be honest, and a lot of the time it just hasn't worked. Cleanse is usually a little bit too good and too easy to be able to deal with her. But maybe Medivh's the secret. What if nobody knew except for B-Step? This is their moment. They're going to be breaking it out. Granted, this wasn't their map selection, so somehow I feel like that may not be the case. Either way, we see the beautiful ritual here as B-Step is possibly one game away if they end up losing from forfeiting this series.
Okay. Well, yes, I guess that makes sense because they... Wait, iDream is playing Medivh? K1 Pro's on Rag again? Everything I know and love and understand about B-Step is being called into question this moment.
It was the Chromie, huh? Yeah.
I thought it would be K1 Pro.
No, I agree. I'm very surprised.
Or Medivh.
K1 Pro is, in fact, not on the Medivh. That is mind-blowing.
Yeah, so then I remembered, okay, it's Medivh. K1 Pro played an awesome Medivh when they were playing before. Still not that either.
Yeah, I don't have words either. We'll see if it works out.
Well, let's keep track of the Chromie build since she's not seen that much in competitive play, but starting to have more of an appearance. She did go for Compounding Ether, so getting improvement, more damage from her Sand Blast. The Q build, not the one that we saw in Europe, at least when Fnatic were playing her.
One thing to note too, just not even just the hero itself, but just McIntyre's play so far on B-Step he's been by far the most to be able to get caught out of any player on the team. So him being onto the Chromie, I'm already a little fearful. Granted, I would say at least I know he's got K1 Medivh to back him up in case it's going to be the iDream. So we'll see if that's going to be more successful as Calf goes in through the portal. And no lockdown available yet for them as Johanna's getting the clear elsewhere. And right now, Tempo Storm seems to be pulling slightly ahead, at least for the laning phase.
Also, something to consider is that iDream is one who can be caught too, and at level 7, he's going to be trying to stack up Master's Touch stacks. It's a very scary time when you're a Medivh player, so I'm hoping that this is one of those practiced B-Step cheeses that we have come to know them for, at least occasionally.
7 seconds onto the Shrine. Rotation shows that Chromie is going to be looking to channel that top right. Ragnaros, Zeratul, and Falset in the mid. It looks like he's going to try and just delay. He's actually staying up there, so it's going to buy time as bottom is going to be the heavy focus here for both of these teams. Interesting decision making here. Channel is going to be completed for Falset. 4 shots now onto the core. Pin into the wall. No responsive damage when iDream is really the only DPS there. Now Falset's trying the channel, and Chromie's going to get that permanent delay. So the rotation for everybody should be committed to bottom now.
Yeah, without anybody being able to see Zeratul, Chromie wasn't confident to move in and try to pick up the safe altar for B-Step. But Falset's starting to head down, at least to clear out the mid with Zeratul. Chromie's going to stay in top, and still the fight rages down in the bottom. Iron Skin used from Fury. King Caffeine was trying to body block so maybe they could take him out. But the damage is very light having people down here for B-Step. They don't have Chromie now. They did get Ragnaros, and that'll help a little bit. Here comes Song on the backline, has gone after iDream.
Yeah, and Caff ends up getting the, ends up shadow dashing out there. And Chromie is going to make the transition down here, so shots are even. See if they can buy the time for Chromie to get into position. There's APM throwing out another Q. Cattle starts the channel. Calf is already at half HP, so risky though. June ends up eating the W there from McIntyre. Ragnaros used the Molten Core. And they're just poke on poke on poke here for B-Step.
It's one of the nice things about having Chromie is that you know it's a free hit on somebody when they start to channel. Good entangling roots from June to stop King Caffeine from getting the final blow onto Fury. Fury has a tap, he's gonna go use it, and still the poke between two teams. But this whole time, Tempo Storm has had Falstad continuing to try to safely soak as he can. And that's starting to get them ahead in experience. Yeah,
very Tempo Storm-esque, the 1-4 split whenever the Falstad is available. We'll see if B-Step has the response here because the delay game really hurts whenever the global exists and they get the split soak there. Fury goes in for one more delay. APM's going to start the channel. June's in range with that. Elun's Grace buys it. The pin, though, coming out from Cap. Fury is trying to get body blocks. McIntyre barely is going to miss that Q. And for now, the fight is going to continue as Falstad's still soaked on mid, but the shots go over to B-Step.
Tempo Storm finally had to give up the altar in the bottom. June was low on mana and then low on health after McIntyre was able to hit him with the Dragon's Breath. McIntyre's build has gone into Piercing Sands, so now he can pierce through so you can't block the shot, so further allowing him to be able to be the poke machine to stop any of Tempo Storm from picking up altars. And then getting Dragon's Eye, so instead of Mobius Loop so that he would have his Dragon's Breath more often, more damage if he can hit enemies in the center of Dragon's Breath. And that's what we saw do quite a bit of damage to June.
Well, there's Cap who's going to get the overpower in the stun in the wall. Good follow-up there coming up from McIntyre on that Chromie. Zeratul and Falstad are making this transition down as Ragnaros is towards top, so it will be a 4 vs 4 for now. Sapper's pressuring in. There isn't that much wave clear. Medivh and Chromie both struggle in that department, but huge harass going on to June in the back line. Very well done. McIntyre is getting a lot of poke there. Beautiful route onto the portal, and they're going to go right back home.
Storm left to try to clean up the rest of the Sappers. Only one will make it into a tower, nearly taking it down, but not quite. However, the Dragon's Breath will grab that for B-Step. B-Step are about a half level behind. The soaking has been really good for Tempo Storm, especially during the altar phase specifically, but Som's keeping a watchful eye on Ragnaros as he does this rotation. If someone comes up to help him, it's possible that he could catch him out right here. He's going in, there's a body block. Singularity Spike to slow. Movement speed from K1 Pro. Here comes Cothan Luck. And a nice gank from Som and Cothan Luck.
Very calculated there. Som really enjoys trying to use that, you know, standing still into the fog of war where you reflect less light while stealth. And I think that's the second kill we've seen it net him here as the channel onto mid is going to start and down to bottom. The channel for Tempo Storm a little bit earlier. There we see the loop. June is going to eat a lot of harass, but not enough to confirm the kill. But the shots are evenly traded. Portal is used to be able to return. Cap is going to be able to make it out. And what seemed like a losing scenario being a man down, B-Step with their creative composition is able to go even for now.
Master Touch was the choice of level 7 talent for iDream on Medivh, so we'll keep you in the loop about how those stacks are going.
Are you going to keep us in the loop?
Yeah, the temporal loop.
The temporal loop. You nailed it.
He's about a third of the way done with them so far.
I'm just glad you picked up on that one. You know, I've been throwing out the bad jokes left and right today, and most of them just... But that
Sometimes
one,
I ignore them because they are, but I thought that one was pretty good. I like that one.
All right, thanks, team. McIntyre is in a tough spot. I don't think he's going to be able to retreat here. Brightwing's going to try and teleport. Does not matter. He is confirmed dead. Chromie so easy to be picked off there by the Zeratul. Until 13, or I guess for her 11. Not something I'm very used to saying.
No, right?
I'll probably refer to them as the original level or the traditional one. You can just -2. Either way, the 13 struggle for her. She has defensive to be able to deal with the Zeratul, either going into the timeout or going to the bye-bye.
Do you have a preference?
I personally don't like bye-bye at all. I can understand it into the Zeratul. I just feel like in a competitive standpoint, like getting the timeout and having, I think it's like 8 seconds separated.
Yeah,
if you can't ice block for 7 seconds and your team can't save you, you really mess up. Like, you should have died in the first place. It's okay.
You deserve to die there.
Like, if you told me Malf got a 7-second ice block, imagine the plays Malfurion can make. You know, he'd be ice blocking in the backline forever. Wait, Twilight Dream. So, hopefully, we see that coming up from him, but maybe it'll be the bye-bye. It is safe when Zeratul opens up, you know, instantly starting to hit your back, go home. And I was told by Trick it's actually the best talent in the game because you wave at your opponents, and that's so BM. It was something like that. I don't know. He was like, it's so cool because you wave at your opponents.
That's awesome. I've never noticed that.
Neither have I.
I'll be watching for it if he picks bye-bye.
we'll figure it out because we have the shot spawning 10 seconds still are going to happen.
No ley line seal for Medivh, but meanwhile, there is still Void Prison for Tempo Storm. Looks like the teams are okay with trading out on altars once again. They're very close in core health, so it's not too much of an issue yet. Zeratul is even in the bottom lane getting sappers, so that is also a little bit of an extra for Tempo Storm. The fact that they're willing to trade, BSTEF might think, oh, well, they're behind in core health. Wouldn't they want to be trying to come into our altar and steal it away to try to tie it up? But no, Tempo Storm, we're doing the trade, and BSTEF were like, okay, I guess we'll just do that because we're ahead, but Tempo Storm getting sappers in the meantime, too, is just a little bit of added bonus, and cool to see.
Master Touch now eking above the 50% mark, so a little bit work left to be done here for iDream as the 9-minute mark has been achieved. Sappers pressuring in, Solom is there. He's going to end up stepping on the trap there set by McIntyre, but this is a 5-man siege down here. Medivh with a beautiful shield, Portal is going to separate him, and those sappers will gain value.
So just for reference, McIntyre is all in on his build. He did not get timeout. He did not get bye-bye. He got reaching through time to get the 15% extra range on both Dragon's Breath and his Sandblast.
That's a lot of faith in Medivh.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that one. Is iDream and McIntyre, you guys, you have some trust system there. A buddy system is pretty much a must-have at this point for the defensives. So we'll see if it works out, though. That range is enough to put Zeratul in a bad spot if he dives that deep in order to try to get onto, the Chromie isolated. Medivh saves her. It might be enough to be able to get a responsive kill, but I am a little afraid of it.
13 talent tier advantage has been hit for Tempo Storm. Again, we're seeing this very tanky, sustainy build for Fury's Johanna, getting the Crusade marches on so Iron Skin's up more often and hold your ground, so the shielding is even increased by 20%. Laws of Hope for health regeneration as well as Regeneration Master. So a super tanky style of Johanna for Fury so that he can tank through a lot of damage because there is the possibility to do that.
Blessed Shield is going to be burnt there onto iDream. He has no tools left to save him. Leyline Seal might be enough.
No.
You got to keep in mind that could have been all of his Master's touch stacks, but he's going to be able to obtain them. A cooldown used there. Blessed Shield on the side of Tempo Storm Shrine up in 3 seconds, and they are just eking towards that 13 talent here. I don't think they're going to be able to pick it up.
Well, with Ragnaros, that's going to take a little while, and they've got Chromie in the bottom lane. So between that's a little while where BSTEF can stall this out. But can BSTEF get 13 in the meantime?
Yeah, nobody's looking to just focus on the siege to make sure they hit 13. Now Molten Core is down. Zeratul has transitioned toward mid lane though, so there's no void to be able to force 15 seconds before Blessed Shield. 40 on that Leyline Seal. We have Sulfura smashes on a 15-second cooldown for now. Cap making the rotation up. 13 has been picked up. Sappers are going to be going in here for free onto that bottom bell tower, almost down, and now Solom getting the engage.
13 is so big for Medivh too because he gets quickening, so that puts Portal pretty much at just a 1-second cooldown now because of the increased duration at 1 as well. There's a Portal out. McIntyre still throwing all of his spells out, and Cattle immediately loses half of his health. He did get Illusionist though, so if that happens again, at least I'll make sure to have Teleport if someone else tries to jump in on top of him, which is exactly what happened.
That was a very good decision when it comes to the portals here, and Judas have to play so far back and so scared. McIntyre, though, is and that is a lot of the strategy here for BSTEF. And K1 Pro's health bar so low, it really, Brightwing is not going to be able to sustain over this long period of time with McIntyre so close to running out of mana. And we see, again, Tempo Storm doing such a good job soaking side lanes whenever they can around a map objective, getting any ounce of experience and saying, if you aren't willing to take this, then we're going to make sure we get an advantage elsewhere.
And as we've seen, that's helped Cawthon because he's now finished his season marksman, which brings up his damage so much. It's huge to have it done here. 15 to 13 for Tempo Storm. Playing the patient game around this altar. Yes, they can't pick it up, but they know that a lot of the members of BSTEF are just sitting here waiting for forever, and it allows Tempo Storm to continue to soak until they can find a favorable engagement. Yeah,
and McIntyre now has restored his mana. He's trying to throw out the spells, not hitting too much of a harass.
Cawthon Gust?
Oh, he's in a tough spot, though. He's pinned the wall. There's going to be the Void Prison, though, Gilly, and iDream's going to be able to save Cap.
iDream saves Cap, throws out a portal too. Cap's going to jump right back into Portal Loop goes down. Ice Block to stop it from happening to June. And I think that K1 Pro should be going down here. Great Roots to hold on to him. They're doing whatever they can to keep Ragnaros alive, but it wasn't enough. A second kill, Reset City now for, who is on? It's Som. Nope, it's not on Som. Caterpillar playing Lee.
Yeah, he's able to get those 16 talent tier here. Shots are going to be channeled. 5 bell towers in the hands of Tempo Storm, setting the core now to 23 for B-Step. The first time, core-wise, Tempo Storm has managed to be able to pick up the advantage here. We talked about the Medivh, the Chromie, the creativeness on this strat. I kind of see where it was coming from. It just doesn't seem like it has enough, really, you know, to be able to face it. And, you know, picking up the Brightwing pick and talking about the global is a response to what we see Tempo Storm doing. At no point has I ever seen Brightwing split pushing to justify that prioritization over those beefcakes that we do see for the rest of the composition of B-Step.
Yeah, and the whole time in the poke war that was happening over the altar, Cawthon not only soaked up to 16 for his team, but even got the bell tower at the bottom. June is going to go down here. Leyline Seal hits Cattle.
It should hit Cattle too. They're not going to be able to force the Sapper's not going to be moving into the core, but there's no gust to ensure that they are. So there is. He's not going to make the transition now to make sure that those go in.
I guess maybe they didn't want to use Temporal Loop there after they took out June?
I guess not. I thought it was at the time, but I don't feel like they wanted to commit that many resources, I guess. Either way, the boss is now going to be cleared here for Tempo Storm as Bell Tower is being converted over to the red team once more for B-Step. 16 tier is going to be within reach as the next Tempo spawn. Molten Core is going to be able to buy time if not. And it's back to even, but overall, it's 4-1 when it comes to kills. Tempo Storm has had control in the macro department, and when it comes to team fights, they've really been winning. But Medivh now, with his Master's Touch, almost completing. Maybe that could turn it.
Tempo Storm would love to take down the bell tower in mid just as this triple altar phase happens. That would be magical for them, and that's why we see them pushing in. There it goes down. 3 altars in 12 seconds. They just need to get out of here and get as many shots as they can off of this altar phase to push them into lethal.
All right, a lot of harasser coming out from McIntyre. Ends up hitting the double Q there onto Cattle and June. Pretty much as value as you can possibly get. Falstad channeling in the top right, or excuse me, left. Zeratul into the top right. Good delay coming out from Mac though. Gonna force the void. We do see Ragnaros making the transition. Brightwing as well. Sophira's smash completely whiffs. But the Medivh shield is going to be able to keep up K1 Pro for a short period of time as they confirm the pick. McIntyre finally landing the combo, and Cawthon looks in a tough spot, tries to fly out, and is not going to be able to. He's going to take back that ticket, and B-Step has a moment.
They do, but the problem with that is that Tempo Storm got those 2 altars up top with 5 bell towers. So yes, they lost 2. They lost some heroic abilities too. Void Prison is down for a while, but I think Tempo Storm are still happy, especially looking at how the core health is. They're still a level ahead. They can immediately go in and soak. They're sending Psalm up to the top. They're keeping control of the lanes. It's not the worst thing for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, now they have the double sapper pressure. They should be able to threaten those towards core. See how much harassment they're able to get out in time before the second one goes. Bell Tower is going to be converted by Brightwing into the mid lane. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Clear it out before the next rotation gets there so they can threaten onto the core. I mean, it's definitely not stopping the bleeding, but it's enough to slow it down. They're a little band-aid for your boo-boo, if you will, here. B-Step needs anything that they can possibly get. Finally has returned. Relatively even. Saw him converting that top bell tower, but the experience is the most important thing. As the portal goes in, June's in a bad spot, and he's got to already forced to use the eye block. Sophia smash Temporal Loop, and he's going to be back in time and proceed to be killed. Very well done here for B-Step.
That was amazingly well done. These are going to go into shots, at least one. I think it was just one that went in, so it's still 20-6, but forcing Ice Block on June was all McIntyre needed to throw down Temporal Loop and get another kill. And as long as they can keep staggered deaths going versus Tempo Storm, they can start to pull their way back into this game.
Yeah, very well done. Kato's going to try and get that harassment by time here as Sappers have kept the pressure towards top. Brightwing has got to get that clear on her own, and if Zeratul makes that transition, which in fact he is, this could be a kill onto APM. This is very tense moment up in the top lane. And APM rip in pepperoni. No, he survives!
Just barely, but nobody else is here.
But
nobody
the shots
else is
are
here.
going. The shots are going 100%. There we go. They're going to be moving in, and slowly that core is going to be whittling down even lower. 3 health remaining for B-Step. Beautiful transition for Saul, by the way, on that last play. That was very well done.
Yeah, and a super fast decision-making from Tempo Storm, even though they lost June, to find an advantage somewhere else. And that's just pure experience that Tempo Storm have been able to get. That is what we talk about when we look at how they've been able to go through being punished by some of the best teams in the world when playing up against them at these World Championships.
Yeah, and so 20 now is almost available for B-Step. Tempo Storm obviously being able to pick up that. When it comes to the 20s, everything's pretty normal. June again picking up that bolt so we can make those flashy plays onto the Twilight Dream. Brightwing is proceeding to lose the 1v1 into the fall stand. No surprise there. I'm not going to say any more negative things about Brightwing for the rest of the game, so that sucks. But either way, 20 is going to be picked up, and that's all that really is going to matter. Sappers are pressuring in. Falstad and Zeratul look like they're going to pull a flank. Falstad with a fight. Zeratul will move down, but they aren't going to force.
Well, I think we know that there is a gust as a possibility. Medivh Cheats is the choice at level 20 for iDream. And Doorhole Anomaly, not that I've seen Chromie very much, but I usually see past and future me. But now, just basically make sure that Chromie can have a lot of charges up Time Trap active. And with Zeratul constantly on the hunt for Chromie and no bye-bye or Time Trap, makes sense that she would want to have some sort of defense there.
All right, so this is it. This is the moment. 3 health remains on the core for B7. If they give either one of these shots, they will end up losing this game. They have to be able to defend both as that bell tower turns, but it doesn't matter. 3 is all that's going to be necessary there. Already, Ragnaros is dead. The portal coming out onto iDream, the Void as well. This is what was a moment of hope is now non-existent for B7 here.
Diablo's gone. iDream gets out. Here comes Cawthon with the fly, not even allowing APM to get the channel on that altar. Chromie's trying. They're both trying. APM's off to the side.
I mean, you can
McIntyre's
try.
gonna go down.
You can try, but I don't think there's a moment.
Woo!
Good portal, and Shield's going to be able to get the peel there. But the shots have been collected, and that, in fact, is going to be GG there. Tempo Storm, 3-0 over B-Step.
Tempo Storm has got to be breathing a sigh of relief. Finally getting a 3-0 after the last 2 series for them have gone all the way to game number 5, even versus Team Freedom, a team that has a lot of new people to the Heroes Global Championship. Although, granted, they did have a much better showing, especially with their synergy yesterday as opposed to an opening week. Yeah, no, Freedom was a awesome surprise to see coming out of yesterday. And but yeah, Tempo Storm has to feel good. Getting the 3-0 here, they haven't had necessarily the smoothest of starts to HGC North America, but they have, in the end, always been able to pull out that win, which is kind of all that matters-ish, but they've got to feel good against B-Step, you know, a team with the potential. We saw the respect that they gave during the interviews as well. So they did, but it's important that they do have this good showing for them because next week, their next match is going up against Team 8. And Team 8 does seem to have a good, solid understanding of where North America and the meta is at right now. Yeah, they have a full grasp of it, and beyond that, they just seem to work very well together as a unit. And anybody who didn't catch their games out of week 1, those guys just straight up turned everything up, outperformed, I think, what anybody expected out of them for week 1, and hopefully continue this week. Now, what about B-Step, though? B-Step, unfortunately, that's now 0-3 for them in series. They haven't had the easiest time. Fell to Gale Force Esports, Team 8, now Tempo Storm. They're going to play No Tomorrow next week. What would you say is the biggest thing they need to continue to work on? I mean, they made steps in the right direction, right? But obviously things weren't perfect. So I think a lot of it comes down to just communication, decision-making has to be on point, and definitely be more comfortable with the macro game, because that is where, when Tempo Storm finally felt comfortable, they really outscaled over B-Step. All right, well, we have Sam on the phone now, so we can talk to him a little bit about the series over B-Step. Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Let's try to sit up.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Hi, what's up, guys?
Hey, congratulations on winning, Sam. I've got to, of course, ask you about the Medivh Chromie. Were you guys expecting that kind of strategy? What were you thinking when it was picked?
We had actually no idea they would pick Medivh Chromie, but we were honestly pretty happy because we have a Zeratul.
Yeah, were you expecting, like, bye-bye or maybe timeout, anything to help Chromie get away from you, or...?
I mean, just picking Chromie, it's not only is Azera direct counter to her, it's just if they pick Chromie and Medivh, they don't really have that much merc pressure on the map. Mm-hmm. So all we did was just take camps, take forts, not fight them really, and just poke them down. That's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you guys consistently over B-Step, at least in this series, and some of the other teams that anytime you manage to pick up the fall set, you're very comfortable with having that 1-4 and just buying time over to, like, your Curse Hollow game, for instance, was beautiful from 3 different angles, being able to get the delay there. And do you feel like that is from your guys' experience at International at all and pulling that from other teams, or just more of, like, you know, your guys' own philosophy and approach to the game?
I think we first made our name as Murloc Geniuses playing with the Broken Zag back in summer. So we've always been comfortable with this style of play, just delaying, let Cawthon do his thing on Zag, get us XP advantage and whatever. So we've always been really comfortable just playing more macro style and delaying and stalling and whatnot.
So you guys, when other teams talk about you guys, they specifically say, oh, all of them collectively are very strong, but not necessarily do we look at anybody as a playmaker. Who would you say is your team's playmaker? And totally fine if you want to say yourself.
I would say we have 3